Hi, beauty. Okay, let's talk about it. Is leakage normal? So oftentimes, especially as women, we are told, and especially if you've had children, whether that is 1 or 10, and you're experiencing any type of urinary leakage, also fecal incontinence, anytime that happens, it's almost like, oh, well, it's normal for a woman your age. It's normal. And to the point where not only are some of the, unfortunately, providers saying that, but patients, when they're having conversations and you will ask them about it, it's like, well, but everyone has it. It's normal. It's expected. Or I've had kids, or I just gave birth, a year ago, or however long ago, 10 years ago, 30 years ago. And so it's always been there, and it's normal. Like, I have that, my family members have that, my friends have that. And the core thing that I want you to take away from this is what is typical or what is common is not considered normal, right? Those two things do not mean the same thing. So is it common to have urinary incontinence, especially as a woman? Yes. It's a lot of times it's actually like really downplayed as far as like, oh, it's normal, it will pass, don't do anything about it, or it just is the way that it is. And it is not, and it's so frustrating because we are told so many things about our body, or are expected to be fine with it, that it's okay that you're having to have some kind of urinary support all day, every day, multiple times a day, and then, having to pay for that, by the way, which is very, very expensive when you start to add it up. But again, something that is common does not make it normal. And that's what I want you to take away from it. So even if you have the tiniest little amount of leakage and it only happens once a week, or it only happens once a month, that is not normal. It is common, but it is not normal. And in the medical field overall, we're trying to kind of actually move away from the word normal, moving on to like what is typical. But for convenience in this case, let's call it normal. But no, it is not normal. It is not normal to have leakage every time that you sneeze. It is not normal to have leakage anytime that you laugh, or that when you go on the trampoline, or when your bladder is super full and you're on your way to the restroom and you're really close, but that overpowering feeling and that urge is so strong that all of a sudden your bladder gives up on you. It is not normal for that to happen with your urination. It's not normal for that to happen with your bowel movements. And so I want you to know that just because those things are common, just because they're actually happening, just because you've had babies, just because you haven't had babies, it doesn't matter. It is not normal. It is not typical. And it is something that if you are in a stage of where you're ready to accept it and actually make it feel better, it is something that can be improved. Now, if it's something that you have and you have zero interest in changing, no, you're not going to just you're not going to make it feel better, and you're not going to make it better, but you also are in a stage where you, quite frankly, don't care that it's happening. But once you get to that point where you're like, you know what, I actually want to do something about this, there are ways to make this better. There are ways, there is a world and a time where this is not actually a part of your daily life. And so know that just because it is common does not make it normal, does not make it typical. Hope that was helpful.